Welcome to episode 2 of Love on the Pod, the podcast where we discuss all of your favorite deliciously cheesy made-for-TV movies with humor and fun, and a few surprises along the way. I'm Dani.
I'm Sherri.
And I'm Jessica. And we wanted to start out today by going down the rabbit hole a little bit for you guys, because there were a few things that we had questions about last week. So the first one was, who played the Nana in Wedding of a Lifetime? We didn't know. We couldn't find her. And luckily we went and did some research and we found out who she is. So her name is Paula Shaw. And we found her because she was in that movie Hitched for the Holidays, which had Joey Lawrence and Emily Hampshire in it. Super cute movie. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. So we also didn't really know much about the Junior Olympics. So Dani, you found out a little tidbit about that, right?
Yeah, so I did some very, very brief research. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Junior Olympics has a age cap. I want to say it was 17, maybe it was like 12 or 13 to 17. So you were right, Mom. It is a youth program, and there's some variations in the length of field, distances, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe a little bit shorter, not quite as challenging as the Olympics, but still very, very challenging.
Shout out to all you junior Olympians, because I'm not one of them, but
no, neither am I, nor will I ever be. But good on ya.
Yep.
Okay, so today's movie is Pumpkin Everything, and I was really excited about this movie because anytime you have a movie called Pumpkin Everything, I mean, you just know it's going to have pumpkin spice joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of pumpkins. It's
going to have pumpkins.
You know.
Uh-huh. So Pumpkin Everything is about a successful author who returns to her hometown to aid her grandfather and his pumpkin-themed store in small-town Autumnboro, New Hampshire. She is reconnected with her childhood sweetheart. Drama resurfaces, their fateful past unfolds, as the potential for a rekindled romance lingers in the pumpkin-spiced air. What do we think, ladies?
I want to be the one that's responsible for naming these towns in Hallmarkville, because it's always such a fun Autumnboro, things like Summers Ridge, Spring Meadows, Fir Tree Falls.
Yes.
How did they come up with these? I don't know, but they're all magical, and I want to be a part of that.
Yep.
Yes, I totally agree.
Fun.
What's that one coming out this year? Candy Cane Lane?
Yes. Can't wait for that one.
Absolutely.
So excited.
So a few fun facts about Pumpkin Everything. It was just released this year. So it came out on October 8th, 2022. It's a brand new movie for the 2022 fall season. It was put out by Hallmark, and it is starring Taylor Cole, who we know from several Hallmark movies, Making Spirits Bright, South Beach Love. She has a new Christmas movie coming out this year called Long Lost Christmas. She also had guest appearances on 2.5 Men, CSI, NCIS, and Castle. Do you guys remember Castle?
Oh, I missed that show so much.
I love that show.
Good.
So good.
I loved that show.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Her co-star is Corey Sevier, which I did have to Google how to pronounce his last name. And then I found it interesting. I watched a interview between Taylor and Corey, and she did not even know how to pronounce his last name. So I felt a little bit better.
Yeah. Because it's spelled like Sevier.
Yes, It is Sevier, but he said he would take any pronunciation of it.
Isn't that what people with complicated last names always say?
Yes,
I think Dorsey said the same thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You can pronounce it Dorsey or Dorsey.
Uh-huh.
Just
I'll
hire
respond.
me. Call me what you want. Just give me the job.
So I found out something really interesting about Corey Sevier. I did not realize this, but he actually plays Timmy in the Lassie series from the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
There was a Lassie series from the 90s.
There was I want to say it was like 1990 to 1997. He played Timmy in Lassie. Pretty cute. He's also in the Cedar Cove Hallmark series, and then he has tons of Hallmark Christmas movies. He has 3 new ones coming out this year. So he is in the Christmas factory. This one is directed by Jeff Beasley, written by Paul Diddy, but it is based on a book called Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte. It's part of the Autumnboro Sweet Romance series. There are 2 books in the series. The other one is called Maple Sugar Crush. So I'm hoping that we'll see a sequel to this.
Yes,
maybe.
me too.
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
read those books.
I do too. They look really cute. Really, really cute. Okay, so let's get into it. This movie opens on an autumn day with falling crisp leaves and an old blue pickup traveling down a small town street. Tom, the driver of the pumpkin-filled pickup, stops at a coffee shop to enjoy his first pumpkin latte of the season, which is on the house, and they chat about Foliage Fest. Can we talk about Foliage Fest?
Again, there's a committee for these names.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not just a one-day thing. Oh no, Foliage Fest runs the whole week long with activities for the entire community on every single day. Why are we not doing this in our hometown? That's what I want to know.
We don't have enough foliage, I guess.
Maybe not.
Did you guys love the opening track as much as I did? It was so good. The song that was playing.
Yeah.
But this song is called Happy on My Own, and it's by Kyle Cox. And it was royalty free, and I'm pretty sure that's why they used it, but it was great.
Interesting.
So upon departure from this coffee shop, Tom forgets to put his truck in reverse, and he crashes right through the front of the darling coffee shop windows. Have you ever forgotten to put your car in reverse?
Well, and he waves to a passing by neighbor, and he's so happy. He's got his pumpkin latte. Fall is in the air, and he's looking behind him, and he goes forward right through the windows of coffee culture.
So terrible.
Poor
I did
Tom.
this. I did this once. Thankfully, I didn't crash into a coffee shop, but I had my boss in my car, and it was the first time I had ever driven her anywhere. Danny, you might have been in the car. I don't know. Maybe it was Kiana.
Oh my gosh.
I had her in the car with me for the very first time. We were parked about to go on the ferry. We were in a parking lot waiting, and I forgot to put my car in reverse. I put it in drive instead, and I was like inches from crashing into the concrete barrier in front of us.
Oh my
And
goodness.
Oh.
I was so nervous that I had my boss in my car, and then I did the stupidest thing imaginable. So yeah, that was my Tom moment.
I've never, that I can think of, I don't think I've ever done that, but I have tried to pull forward to leave a parking spot, when they have like the double stalls and you can just drive right over the line if there's no one parked on the other side.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize it had one of those little rubber,
The little bumpers.
small rubber bumpers. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there was a guy sitting in his car drinking coffee right next to me. So he fully saw my mistake, and it was very embarrassing.
And once you commit, like you just have to keep going.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no. There was no going anywhere. I had to put it in reverse, and oh yeah. And he's just over there chuckling with his coffee, and I was very red-faced. Don't make eye contact. All right. So sweet Tom has just driven his truck through the coffee shop windows. The scene switches to a busy New York City street, and we're in a publishing office where Amy, our main character, is discussing her new book release. This is the 3rd in her series, Vampire Rising, and it's rumored to be a huge success.
Rumored by who? Her publisher?
Her publisher. I mean, she's saying, your fans want to know what happened to Dimitri.
They
So
do.
what happened to him? Vampire Rising, this reminds me of, like Twilight, True Blood.
Mhm.
What's that other one? Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
had the whole big vampire craze for a while. I want to know what your pick was, because I feel like people usually were either diehard True Blood, Twilight, or Vampire Diaries. Did you have one?
I watched all 3.
Oh,
From start to finish, all 3. I mean, True Blood is great, but it is very racy.
Mhm.
Very, very racy.
Mhm.
So, I think Vampire Diaries is more the PG-13 version of that. But
Mhm.
Interesting.
I
I never
actually-
watched Vampire Diaries.
I didn't either. I only ever watched the Twilight series, which, looking back now, wow.
It's
Talk about a
terrible.
recipe for an abusive relationship.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
I definitely was into Twilight. I did watch True Blood. I never watched Vampire Diaries. I'm kind of curious about it.
It's good. I liked it. I mean, and the main male characters don't make it terrible either. They're pretty easy on the eyes. So, and one of the main characters is married to an actress from Twilight.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Nikki something. I forget her last name.
Oh, isn't she
Nikki Reed.
Rosalie?
Yes.
Mhm.
The blonde
Yes.
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Nikki Reed.
Ian Somerhalder is married to her.
Learn something new every day.
Hopefully that's right. I'm pretty sure.
We might be going down the
We'll do
rabbit
a
hole
fact
next week.
Disappointing news, guys. They got divorced.
It's not true. It's just in my imagination.
But we wish it was true.
Would have really, really, really cute babies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. So from the publishing office, we move back to the small town, Autumnboro, New Hampshire, and we get to witness a phone call between Amy and her mother, letting her know that her grandpa Tom ran into the coffee shop. They're in the hospital. He has a sprained wrist. The truck is totaled. And Tom promptly runs over and says, "I'm fine," and hangs up the phone without saying goodbye at all. And the next scene, Amy's in the car on her way to Autumnboro.
So can I
As
just
she
say
should
something
be.
real quick about this phone call? The mom calls Amy, right, to tell her what happened to grandpa. And then at the end of the phone call, she says, she called me when he hangs up. And I'm like, no, she didn't. You called
You called her.
I didn't catch
I
that.
had
That's-
the same
yes,
thought.
now that you said that.
Yeah, she said, "We say goodbye in this family." She called me.
Yeah.
But did she? Did
No.
they have a rewrite? Or...
She did not call you.
And I just wanted to jump back to the publisher's office. She also mentioned possible TV appearances. And what was the TV show?
Yes.
Day.
Hey,
Good
good
day.
day.
Which
Yes.
we also learned about Hey Good Day on Wedding of a Lifetime. So I
I'm
feel like
wondering if this is a common thread that we're going to see.
Maybe like the regular Good Morning America type of show in Hallmark land.
Yeah, Hallmark Land's Good Morning America is "Hey, Good Day."
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like
Yeah,
the
that's
title.
interesting.
It's catchy.
Mhm.
I do too.
I do too.
We should, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that in the
Yes.
next few movies. So I felt like this was a pretty sudden decision for her to go back home. Grandpa's got a sprained wrist. He totaled his truck. Obviously, she's concerned, but mom is there.
Mm-hmm.
She's in Pennsylvania, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if she was still in New York or if she was in Philadelphia, but she needs to go back to New Hampshire. So if she's in Philadelphia, it's about like 6-7 hours at least to get there.
Mhm.
Why does she just go? Why doesn't she make any plans like with her mom as far as where she's going to stay, what grandpa needs help with?
Well, and it seems like she drove there, right?
Mhm.
It seemed that way. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I mean, if she's a successful author, she has money. My thought would be you want to get there as fast as you can, you're going to fly, right?
Right.
I don't know.
And maybe
Or
she
maybe-
did. Maybe she flew
maybe
and
it
that
was
was a rental car.
We don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah. But I feel like though he didn't have a serious injury, the reason for his injury was pretty serious. So maybe
True.
she's
Yeah.
thinking, he probably, there's got to be something else going on there that he would run his car into a coffee shop.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe that increased the urgency a little bit.
Right. Maybe grandpa needs some extra help so that something
Mhm.
worse doesn't happen. She arrives at the hospital, surprises them. They seem happy to see her, but there's some obvious tension there.
Mhm.
We find out that Tom actually withdrew his funding from her college education when she decided to be a writer,
Mhm.
and that he really wanted her to go to business school and eventually take over his store, Pumpkin Everything.
Mhm.
Hence the title, Pumpkin Everything.
And everything.
Yes.
Well, Grandpa, come on. There should be no conditions on gifts.
No.
Either you're going to pay or you're not going to pay.
I kind of want to know the backstory of Pumpkin Everything. Like, how did this come to be? How did he decide I'm going to start a pumpkin themed store
Right.
when it's only fall 2.5 months out of the year. Like what,
Right.
what
What do you
made that
do the rest
decision?
of the year?
Yeah. Like what does pumpkin everything look like at Easter?
Right.
These are questions I want
Christmas.
answered.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of the summer. And he references several times throughout the movie that it's always been his dream. As a little boy, he dreamt of having a pumpkin store.
I mean, you grow up in a town called Autumnboro.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe it's
yeah.
a magical town like Christmas Land where it's always autumn.
I just want to give a shout out to the set decorators at Hallmark because it is a magical town. Everything is fall leaves and pumpkins and gourds and sunflowers. And that's another job that I would love to have. I want to be a set decorator. I want to name those towns. Everything is done to the nines. And I think it's just magical.
Well, and they filmed this in Manitoba in like August. So there was not a fall leaf to be seen, right? They had to truck all of that in.
Yeah.
And then edit. I mean, obviously a lot of it was probably edited in post-production too, but
sure.
So much stuff to bring in to make it feel like it was autumn.
Well, and I am curious too, what the weather is like in Manitoba in August. Is it warm?
Probably.
Because they're all bundled up. Are they pretending that they're not sweating profusely or are they comfortable? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I think it's humid. I mean, that's the East Coast, right? So it's hot, humid.
And they're in wool coats and flannels.
Seems that way.
Oh.
Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah.
So they're getting ready to take Tom home. He's been released from the hospital. Amy's mother gets busy with work and has to run off. So Amy volunteers to take Tom home. In the car, they're discussing another closing family business in Autumnboro. Tom makes it very clear that he thinks it should have been taken over by the owner's children, which kind of alludes to the tension between them. I'm feeling like he's saying without saying that he feels like Amy should be taking over Pumpkin Everything from him. So my question here is he's talking about how the children should have taken over this other family business. Why is the pressure on Amy to take over Pumpkin Everything and not his daughter, Lillian? I was curious about that. It seems like she's a real estate agent and
a very busy real estate agent.
Right. He doesn't seem to have any problem with that. So I'm wondering, why is it Amy?
Maybe it's because Amy worked in the store when she was younger. And so
she loved it. She liked to be there when she was younger. So maybe he just assumed they had kind of this thing in common. So this was his dream that someday he would hand it off to her.
Yeah.
And I feel like when they're releasing him from the hospital, they're setting up the constant theme of somebody needing saving, because the nurse says something to the effect of follow the doctor's orders this time around, which sets up in Amy's mind this time around what's going on. Is something happened before? Is there something I should be concerned about? So now we have Amy the heroine coming in to save the day.
Exactly. Yep. So after they have this conversation, it turns to happier things. Tom is pressuring Amy to just take him to Pumpkin Everything. He's fine. He doesn't need to go home and rest. They decide to run some errands for Foliage Fest, and they end up stopping at a street cart for caramel apples, which are also on the house. Tom is well loved in this town.
And I love that you said caramel apples, because they said caramel apples, and that really bothered me. So what's the consensus? Is it caramel or is it caramel?
I say caramel, but I hear caramel a lot.
If you ask my Canadian husband, it's caramel. If you ask me, it's caramel. So
maybe it's a regional
I think it's a regional thing. Yeah.
But if you go get a coffee, you don't order a caramel macchiato. You order a caramel macchiato.
Maybe some people do, though.
Maybe they do.
Yeah, maybe. It probably just depends on where you're from. It's like soda and pop, right? Yeah. Some places people say
right or wrong.
Places people say pop. I mean, there is right or wrong, let me tell you.
But it's caramel.
Yeah.
But it depends on who you ask.
I want to jump back to the car for just a minute. When Amy asks her grandfather if he's friends with the nurse, he says absolutely not, very abruptly, he's offended that she asked. And it was a little jarring to me. I'm like, why is he so mad that she's asking if you're friends?
Well, my first thought was, does he have a crush on the nurse?
Yes.
Is he embarrassed? Is that why he was like, absolutely
I
not?
thought that's
course
where they
not.
might go with it, but
Mhm.
And then I thought, okay, there's a familiarity there because he's been there so many times. And so that's why he's denying, no, I don't, she's not my friend. So,
Right. He doesn't want Amy to know how much help he's really been needing.
Exactly.
So as they're walking down the street enjoying their caramel apples, Amy is sharing the excitement of her book release and her success as a writer. Tom is clearly disgruntled by it, and he is
He's not
encouraging
impressed.
her to skip a few of the promotional engagements, extend your stay in Autumnboro. This is no big deal to him. He doesn't want anything to do with it. Seems very disappointing to me as a granddaughter. She's trying to share all of this success with him, and he is not having it.
no,
Not having it.
he's not
Grunts,
interested.
he grumbles, he wants everything his way.
Mhm.
And it's kind of sad to see that because you want your grandfather to support what you do and be happy for your successes. And he's just not having it because it's not what he saw her doing.
Right. And it seems like maybe he had this vision in his head of how her life was going to go and didn't exactly share that with her. And so maybe they never really had a conversation about it. So he's assuming one thing while she's dreaming about something else. And then they're both surprised in the end because they're both, considering very different paths.
Yeah.
So when they arrive at Pumpkin Everything, it is elaborately decorated for fall and booming with business. He jokes that he did all the work by himself before revealing that it was actually put together by Kit, Amy's high school best friend. Kit comes outside just then, and they stare at each other for a very, very long time.
Yes, they do. They both look like they've seen a ghost.
Yes. They have some somewhat awkward conversation, and their attention is directed to the pumpkin candles and how they have been changed to a different location. Amy seems surprised that Tom has allowed Kit to move them into a different area in the store, again, alluding to his resistance to change. But then Tom lets us know that this is a proprietary blend of pumpkin spice candle, and people come from all over to get these candles.
This is not just some ordinary pumpkin candle.
No.
This is a proprietary blend.
No. And here comes Kit with his groundbreaking marketing strategy of move them to the back of the store. Like,
And why is that?
okay, Costco
So
does the
people
same
walk
thing.
through the store.
Yeah,
They
do.
put the cheap chickens in the back so that you will walk around the whole store before you
they
get
put
them.
the boxes
Marketing
of
genius
diapers
Kit.
in the far back corner.
Yep.
You can't skip diapers.
Yep. Absolutely. There's a reason for it all. So Grandpa has never discovered this marketing tactic, and Kit is a genius.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and I'm
Such a unique
wondering,
idea.
the outside of the store is decorated just as beautifully as the inside of the store. There's hay bales, there's pumpkins, there's pumpkin candles. Does it never rain in Autumnboro? Does it not snow? Is theft not a thing? Do they leave this out? I mean, because this is a big deal. This is decorating to the max. Do they take it down every night? I don't think so. So
There
maybe
is
they have a
no
special security
crime
guard.
in Hallmark land.
That is true.
I think that must be true.
So no.
There are police officers, though, in some movies. But
There are.
But
But usually they're just there to, walk around the parade or
and encourage the main character.
yeah, exactly.
I do love the grandpa's laugh, though. It's so cute.
It is.
Yes.
I want him to be Santa in some movie.
Oh, that would be great.
He would be great. He is fantastic. He's played by Michael Ironside, and he does such a good job. He's my absolute favorite character in the movie.
The interactions are so believable.
Yes, absolutely. You can really see that Amy wants that approval from her grandfather.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite Hallmark movies I've ever watched. I just felt like the acting was really good. It was a believable story. It was everything I love about Hallmark in that it was cheesy at times and and sweet and, always has a happy ending, that kind of thing. But it was very believable. It seemed like it could have been something that actually happened in real life. And I
And you
thought
find
they did
yourself
such a good job.
You find yourself really caring about the characters as well.
Yes.
So after this awkward interaction between Kit and Amy, it was, I want to say it was warmly awkward. They both seemed a little uncomfortable to see each other, but they also seemed happy to see each other. And after that conversation, Kit encourages Tom to head home and rest. So he agrees. They head back to the house. Now here, I noticed that Tom's house looks just like his store.
I was trying to figure out if he lived in a section of the store, but apparently they're two different places.
It's a different place. It's also elaborately decorated, pumpkins everywhere, hanging plants,
garland.
Tom says that Kit helped him with the decorations. So again, we're finding out that Kit is pretty involved in Tom's life, to Amy's surprise. But I'm really curious. I found myself wondering several times throughout the movie if they used the same building for his house and the store.
I feel like maybe they did. It was a historic kind of a stone home shop, and it looked like it was the same one.
They could shoot everything at his house and then redress the set and then shoot it as pumpkin everything and not have to pay two different homeowners to use their house.
Right. I want to buy that house.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it worked. It worked because I liked how it was kind of cohesive and you could tell that he had a certain style because they obviously his store and his home matched. And it also kind of showed to the viewer that pumpkin everything is part of his heart. It's part of his home, right?
Yeah.
So it showed that connection, but I just thought it was a little bit funny because it definitely seemed like they used the same house. Tom also mentions something about Kit having a rough patch and him helping him through it. So we're seeing some deeper threads between the two of them. They walk inside the house. It's disorganized. It's cluttered. It's messy. Amy puts some tea on and offers to help with the house, which Tom outright refuses.
It's messy, but in the neatest set decorated way possible. It doesn't actually feel messy. It's like, oh, it's cluttered, but it still looks pretty,
Messy, not dirty.
And the gallon of milk or the half gallon of milk sitting on the kitchen counter, it looked like a tablespoon had been drunk and then it was just left there with no lid on it. I'm like, really? Do people actually do that?
At least pour enough for a bowl of cereal.
Well, and it's ruined now, right?
What I got from that was maybe he put some in his tea and then forgot about it. So this sets up more evidence that he needs more help than he's willing to admit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That makes sense.
I noticed that Tom immediately starts organizing his record collection. And I just felt like that was kind of a silly thing. You just got home from the hospital and suddenly you've decided it's time to organize your record collection. So Amy comes over and she's chatting with him, but they never drink tea. Where is the tea? She said she was going to put some tea on. The tea never appears.
She forgot about that.
She forgot the tea. Or they didn't have any because the milk was ruined.
I'm so dismayed by the mess in the kitchen.
She's like, no way. I'm not doing this.
Never mind. No tea. Tom is organizing his records. Amy's forgotten about the tea. She goes outside for some fresh air and runs into none other than Kit coming home with bags of groceries. Here's my question. In these movies, I always see the characters carrying a brown paper sack of groceries. Is that a real thing? Does anyone actually do that? Walk home from the store with a brown paper bag in each arm? Because I know for me, I load the back of my car up and I've got 12 bags in each hand because I am only going to take one trip. And they're plastic bags and stuff is falling out. But this is much more, I don't know, romantic.
I know the answer to this.
Oh, okay.
I know the answer to this.
She's prepared.
They have special bags that they use for movies that are brown paper bags, but they're made out of a special material so they don't make noise. So that's why they don't use plastic bags. And that's why that's why you'll never hear them crunching around because they're special material.
That is so interesting. Okay.
So it's not as romantic as we thought.
Question answered, though. I love that.
Useless information that is now
It's
usable.
useful. Absolutely useful. So we find out here that Kit actually lives in Tom's guest house.
Yes.
Surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So Amy helps Kit bring in the groceries. She doesn't seem bothered by this. And can we just talk about how pumpkin decorated Kit's house is?
It's
What
everywhere.
man do you know that decorates for fall like
And he did it all himself.
What's the name of that designer from Trading Spaces? Frank something? It reminded me of him.
Yes.
Yes.
He would decorate like that.
Oh,
He would.
probably. I think you're
Absolutely.
probably right. Yeah. Yep. So they get to spend some time visiting in his pumpkin cottage. And we find out here that Kit's rough patch that Tom mentioned earlier came after his mom died during senior year. He made some bad decisions. He was drinking too much. He was burning bridges. We find out that he has since quit drinking. He's obviously doing better. You know, he's got a roof over his head. He's got a steady job. He's helping Tom. And Amy begins to realize she doesn't know him as well as she thought she did. And she also doesn't know what's going on with Tom as much as she thought she did, because Kit also reveals that Tom had a bad fall off the front step of his house, which no one had told Amy about.
So Taylor Cole, who plays Amy, is 38.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
I
she
would
could
never have
pass
guessed
for, she could pass for her early 30s, I think. No problem.
Or
But
even late 20s. Yeah.
But I'm like, if they are using her real age, how long was Kit's rough patch? It's very long. 20 years long? That's a long that's a long
That's not really a patch. That's a season? A decade?
Didn't they say at one point that they hadn't seen each other for 15 years?
Okay.
So from senior year, 15
So
years
even
later.
that is
Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty long rough patch for Grandpa to be helping him with. Because he's only been working at the store for a little while, right? Not
Just
this whole
over a year, I think
like
is what they said. Something like that. Or he had been living there for just over a year.
That is a long rough patch.
That is a long rough patch. That's a really rough patch.
I mean, I'm glad Grandpa Tom stuck in there with him. But
Good for him for turning it around.
yeah.
So I'm wondering here, Kit is obviously very involved with Tom's life. And it seems to me like Amy has a fairly close relationship with her mother. Why doesn't Amy know this at all? I mean, he's living in his guest house. He's working at the shop. He's helping him decorate his home. It never came up in conversation.
Mom would have mentioned that at some point.
But, you know, maybe mom's too busy with work.
Her phone is always ringing. She's always on the phone with the client.
Yep. Or maybe she thinks or thought that it would make Amy feel bad if she told her that he was getting help from someone else.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The next scene, we see Amy at Pumpkin Everything. She notices some packages, and we discover that Kit has set up online ordering. Another brilliant marketing concept that no one before him would have thought of.
Who would have
Mind blown.
And honestly, there's not that many packages.
There was maybe 9 stacked up in the corner.
So yeah, that's great. There's online ordering, but the packaging doesn't seem very consistent, and there's not that many of them. So I'm curious about how busy their online ordering is.
Because we do see a check at later in the movie of how much the sales are, and it's a lot. But based on those packages, I don't know how they're going to get to that number.
It's a proprietary blend of candle. Maybe they're like $50 a pop.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
All right. So after she notices the packages, Kit is trying to decorate the store some more because clearly, I mean, it needs more decorating. And he's having trouble. So Amy volunteers to help. Tom comes in and calls them the dream team. Amy invites Tom to lunch, which he happily accepts.
Yeah. So did Kit help with the store when Amy worked there too then? Is that what we're saying?
It seems like that because he said the dream team back together again. So maybe they both worked there in high school as like an after school job.
That makes sense.
maybe before he lost his mother, before his rough patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So Amy has invited Tom to lunch. They're heading out to go enjoy this lunch. And I'm seeing Tom smile more. It seems very sweet. He's excited to go to lunch with Amy. And they get outside and he finds out that lunch is actually back at his house because Amy has hired a team to come in and revamp his home and restock the refrigerator and prep some food. And he is not having it.
Well, I feel like her heart was there. She
Mhm.
meant well, but she crossed a line. She should have
Yeah.
asked him. She should have suggested, these are some services that I can provide for you. They'll come in, they'll clean your house, they'll stock your refrigerator, and it'll just make things a little bit easier so you can focus on your store and getting better. But she didn't do that. She just let strangers come into his home. So I don't blame him for being angry.
Well, and he had just told her not to clean up his house. So
Right.
she then took that as, okay, well, I'll hire someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's
doesn't
not
really
me.
make any
I'm not
sense.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that feels
Mhm.
like even more of an overstep of a boundary.
Right.
You know, you think it's nice, but then you have to put yourself in the shoes of the grandfather where it's like, this is a total invasion of my privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's clearly very protective of his privacy, protective of his space. Yeah.
Mhm.
He's
So he
getting
is-
older. He doesn't want to admit that he needs extra help. It makes him
Right.
feel helpless when someone comes in and takes over. So I totally understand all that. I've seen it
Mhm.
in my own parents. So you don't want someone just coming in and making decisions for you. You're perfectly capable of making decisions yourself. And even though you might need help, you want to be part of that process.
Right. Right.
But then
Totally.
he says to her, maybe you needed an app to make you feel better about not showing up. And that's pretty mean, especially
Mhm.
after she just tried to clean up your house and you said no. So it's like that kind of battle of, well, what do you want from me? You know,
Right.
Mhm.
He's angry about this, but is he really more angry about something else?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Tom is hurrying home because he wants to make sure they haven't robbed him blind.
Yeah.
They get back to the house. Everything is clean and organized. And during this time, Amy finds a copy of her book on Tom's shelf, which was a bit of a surprise to her. Tom is resistant to change, but they sit down at the table and they actually have a really tender-hearted conversation about growing older, which I really enjoyed.
That got to me when he said, growing up ain't for the faint of heart. I just felt that to my core because, well, first off, he is such a great actor. And so you could see the emotion in his performance. But when he said that, I thought, you know what? It's got to be so hard. I mean, I'm middle-aged, but to, put 30 years on that, he's probably his late 70s, early 80s portrayed in the movie. That's got to be so hard knowing that things are changing and you can't do anything about it. So it really tugs at your heartstrings on this one.
Absolutely, I would agree. So after this scene, we see Amy and her mother going out for a walk in Autumnboro, and we find out that the coffee shop has been hounding her about paying the damages for the front window. They decide to go in and get a pumpkin latte because, of course, why not? But while they're there, her mom has a few choice words for the owner. So she asks for Luke. He comes out and suddenly her face changes and she is clearly taken with the handsome coffee shop owner.
She's like a little schoolgirl.
She is so smitten.
It was adorable. It was so cute. I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
She was giggling.
Mhm. Yes. Yep. I really loved that. So Amy gets a phone call from her publisher, finds out she got a spot on Hey Good Day, and she's got to fly out in the morning. So while they're at the coffee shop, she gets an extra pumpkin spice latte and she just leaves without saying anything to her mom because she just sees that she's so taken with this gentleman that she's just going to leave her be.
And her mom is just, bye, honey.
Yeah. No problem. Just handsome man. Let me
She's going to sue my dad, but he's so handsome.
I do have a question about that, though. Having been through insurance claims, insurance should pay for that. I don't know why he would be calling him, hounding him for money. He has insurance. I'm assuming Tom has insurance. they should be good to go.
Right.
Yeah, Luke
I
was
wondered
saying-
that too.
At some point, he said that insurance wasn't going to cover the entire cost of fixing the front of the store.
Which
I
doesn't
should.
make any sense to me. I don't
No.
understand why.
Yeah. And I also noticed, obviously, because this is probably a real retail location, so they can't bulldoze it, but they just had like plastic over the windows when he had just driven straight through the building. And
Yes, so all the brick was still there.
yeah,
but
the
windows-
pumpkins were stacked up. I'm like, clearly nothing actually happened to this
Yeah.
building.
And even if the brick had held and it
Mhm.
was just the windows that broke, they would have boards in there. They
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
just have
Put up
garbage
plastic.
bags.
It would be pretty cold in there.
Yeah, for sure. So Amy brings Kit a pumpkin spice latte as a bit of a peace offering while she tells him that she's going to have to leave early. They reminisce a little bit about their friendship. She apologizes for not being there for him. And we find out that she left to pursue her writing without even saying goodbye to him. So this is kind of where some of the awkwardness is coming from, is that she never actually said goodbye.
This is a theme in Hallmark movies.
Mhm.
A lot of people, I just watched one a couple weeks ago where they got a divorce and the guy left her without saying a word. And you find out why at the end, but I feel like there's a lot of Hallmark movies where this is what happens.
Yeah, you just leave with no explanation.
At least
that-
leave a note or something.
I've never
Yeah.
had that happen in my life.
No.
You know?
I suppose it probably does happen.
Yeah.
It just seems really, really harsh.
Not very nice. I mean, shoot me a text message or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess they call that ghosting now.
After we find out that she left without saying goodbye, she's apologized to Kit for not being there. She's about to leave. And I loved this part because Kit tells her that he understands. He didn't expect her to fix him. He's glad that she went and followed her dreams. I mean, this is a very self-aware man,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then they hug each other again for a very, very long time. Very long hug. I mean, and it's clear that they don't want to let go.
He wants her to stay, but he doesn't want to tell her he wants her to stay because,
right.
again, he's still supporting her dream of being a writer.
So Amy's in the car and the radio station comes on. It is the radio for seniors and everyone. Is this a thing? Do nursing homes actually have their own radio stations?
Retirement villages.
It's a retirement village. It's not a nursing home. There's a big
Retirement
difference.
villages?
Ask my dad.
Do
I mean,
retirement
maybe.
villages have their own radio stations that the whole town can listen to?
Yeah, it is pumped into the whole town. I don't know. I've never heard of this.
It's
but
cool.
It seems fun.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
really fun.
Our high school had a radio station that you could listen to at any time.
right.
That's true.
They did,
The community
didn't
can
it?
listen to it. They still do.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I suppose so. So Amy decides to stay a little longer and she surprises Grandpa Tom, asking him to grab his record collection and come with her. They arrive at the retirement village, Oakwood, where they head into the radio facility and meet Maggie, the super, super cool DJ. I really
She's like a
her.
hippie. The first thing she says is rock on.
Yeah.
I did
she's
not like her.
awesome.
You
You
didn't
didn't like her?
I
Oh,
thought
I
she
loved
was.
her.
I thought she was trying too hard. I just felt like these are the lines that you're supposed to say, and this is how you're supposed to sound like an aging hippie. And I did not buy it.
I loved her.
I
You know
did
what I
too.
did notice was Tom had this tote bag supposed to be full of his favorite jazz albums, and it wasn't big enough to hold those. I mean, you would have seen those, and there was no weight to it. And that's something that really bothers me in movies. Like if you have a latte and you can tell there's nothing in it, you at least put some water in it. Put something weighted. And I know they have to do take after take, so you're not going to have a really heavy bag, but that bothered me that you could
Put
tell
a
there were
couple
no
records in there.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I watched an interview with Tom not Tom, with Corey and Taylor. And they were talking about a similar thing. They were talking about the pumpkins and how when they were, lifting a pumpkin or whatever, they're hollow inside, right? So they have to pretend that they're heavy. And Taylor was saying how hard that is for her, and how usually in a film, if she has to hold, like you were saying, a coffee cup, or something that's supposed to be heavy, she has to have them stuff it with something, because otherwise she forgets and she's just flying pumpkins around in her hands like it's no big deal.
Right.
And I just thought that was so interesting. I don't even think about those things when I'm watching. So,
and I get, obviously they're not going to put them through lifting 50-pound pumpkins over and over again, take after take. But yeah, that would be hard to try to make it look like it's real.
It's another layer of acting that I don't even think about. Amy has taken Tom over to the retirement village. They met Maggie, and we find out that there's an open DJ spot. And Tom seems really excited about this, which surprised me. He seems really into it. He wants to try it out, take the position. But then he gets kind of, caught off guard by the fact that he actually has to be a resident in order to take this position. And I felt like this was really crafty of Amy. At first I thought, this is a really sweet thing that she thought of him and is finding this really great creative outlet for him. And then it's like a kind of a slap in the face that she's doing it in this crafty way.
Yeah, a little bit of an ambush again.
I did not like it. I felt like she was trying to trick him, and I was not a fan.
And I guess it also kind of highlighted their similarities. She's very stubborn. He's very stubborn. She thinks things should go her way. He thinks things should go his way. And so I don't like the way she did it, but she's trying to make her idea of what should happen. And again, is not communicating with her grandfather about it.
And this is the first time we hear her actually mention the idea of selling the store.
Right.
And so she piles that on. Not only do you need to sell your house to live here, but, you could sell the store too. Like, isn't that a great idea?
Right. Which she mentions very willy-nilly, like it's not a big deal. And this is a huge deal.
I think he surprises her a little bit too, because he tells her, I looked into living here. I would have to sell my house to live here, and it still wouldn't be enough. I still couldn't afford it. And that's when she says, well, you could just sell the store. All nonchalant, like it's not a big deal, but it's obviously a huge deal to him.
Right. Yeah. So I think a lot of the story is about her wanting him to recognize what's important to her, but she also is not recognizing what's important to him. So it goes both ways. Yeah. So Tom seems to be just gutted by this suggestion. They head back to Pumpkin Everything. There is extreme tension in the air. Kit walks right into the middle of it. He seems to be really uncomfortable. And then he just randomly says, I'm hungry. I thought that was so funny. Like, way to cut the tension. So while they're inside the store, though, Amy gets a call from her publisher. She's incredibly unhappy that she's not back in town yet for her appearance of Hey Good Day. Amy gets this brilliant idea and says, let me take care of it. Which, first of all, is that a thing? Do you just tell your publisher, I'll take care of it?
I got this.
Hang up the phone.
She's like compared to who Hey Good Day probably interviews, she's like a nobody author, right? So how much pull does she really have?
So I'll take care of it. I got it. Yeah. But she has this idea to go live on, I'm assuming, Facebook or Instagram or something. Kit films her. And not only does she promote her book, but she also promotes her grandfather's store. And Tom, while she's doing this, Tom gets kind of choked up and compliments Amy on her well-spoken, on-the-fly promotion. So that surprised me. I thought it was a little bit strange, just because I'm like, she's literally just saying my book comes out soon and this is my grandfather's store. But maybe he's just grateful to see that she's equally promoting both, like they both have value to her.
Yeah, it was definitely a choice to have him get choked up. I don't know that it's the choice I would have made. I think you could have gotten the same feeling from him just like paying attention to what she was doing, taking note of it. Because later there's more opportunities for him to get choked up.
Right. I don't know that this was that emotional moment. It was sweet though. Okay, so Kit and Amy are now going to head to Fall Hill Farms, another fantastically named location, to
Agreed.
help prep for the Scarecrow contest. The farm is dreamy. It is like just gorgeous red barn, farmhouse, the perfect sunset timing, and it's just beautiful. They are enjoying the farm. I'm not sure exactly what it is they're doing to prep for the Scarecrow contest, though.
Well, they did have to load that giant pumpkin. in the
Yeah,
back of
and
the
that
truck.
had to be a 1,000-pound pumpkin. I'm not sure how they got it in the truck. And
Mhm.
wasn't the truck totaled, or is that Kit's truck? It's the
That's
same
Kit's
color.
truck. It's the same
Okay.
color, but it's darker and it's newer.
Okay.
And I actually
Okay, I was
wondered
trying to
about
figure
this.
that out.
Are they trying to show that like Kit is like a younger version of Tom?
Yeah.
The same kind
I think
of truck,
so.
but it's a newer model. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I just-
and that pumpkin was clearly hollow. That was not a heavy pumpkin.
It was a big old styrofoam pumpkin.
But why did they need a giant pumpkin for the Scarecrow contest?
And why
what-
were they putting it in the truck?
I don't know. I don't know.
We never
We
find
never got
out
to
where it
see
ends up.
the final
No.
destination of the giant pumpkin.
Maybe they never got it out. It's just
How did they
there.
unload
I was
it?
thinking
Right.
maybe there was a big carving contest or something, but they never talked about that. So
No. I
Hmm.
don't know. Maybe it was yet another decoration for pumpkin everything.
probably.
Maybe like we need this giant pumpkin. What's their pumpkin budget every year?
Right. They should
A lot.
really have their own pumpkin patch.
Yeah, they
They
should.
should.
So this was one of my favorite scenes. They randomly break into a race for this post that's far out in the woods.
Mhm.
And they're running. Kit is ahead of Amy. When suddenly Amy has hurt herself. I was concerned. I thought maybe she sprained her ankle. She pulled a muscle. He turns around to help her and she laughs and takes off running and wins the race. And I loved this. I felt like we got to see their playfulness. We got to see what their friendship was like before his rough decade. And I just thought it was really charming and cute.
It reminded me of when my 3-year-old Dexter will lay down in the grass when he's playing soccer and pretend like he died so that people will come to see if he's okay, and then he'll get up and take the ball.
Oh my gosh.
You've never seen him do that?
I've seen it. It's so funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God.
I think he's
He's
done
been
it to
watching too much
Tyler.
professional soccer.
Yeah.
that is too funny.
Oh gosh.
So while they are enjoying Fall Hill Farms, Amy gets yet another call from her publisher. She finds out that Hey Good Day saw her video and wants to do her promotional interview at Pumpkin Everything.
Yes.
Because usually these big, huge morning shows come to small towns to do their morning show from a pumpkin themed store.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So she's
Because
very happy about this.
That doesn't sell books.
No, it doesn't sell books.
I didn't even think about that. It doesn't sell books. It's a pumpkin store. Okay, sure.
Logical place to have a book
yeah.
signing.
Why not? So Amy and Kit have a really tenderhearted conversation on the bed of the pickup truck. Amy shares that she's happy to be home. She wants to be here, but she really is still looking for Tom's approval of her career. And we see that there's some potential for romance in this scene.
It was very sweet.
Mm-hmm. We also get to see a date scene between Luke, the mysterious coffee shop owner, and Lillian, Amy's mom. They're having some friendly banter about the window repairs, and their flirtations become quite obvious. I'm wondering, is this a date or is it a business meeting?
It seemed like a date.
I think it's a date.
She was intrigued enough that she actually put her phone on mute and gave him her full attention. But what I want to know, it was cute, it was romantic. Is he still suing her dad?
Right. And he explains in this scene about how the insurance is not covering all of it. And he talks about how many lattes he'd have to sell. And she's like, oh, well, I never really thought about it that way. So,
But here's the thing. If that were true, his insurance company would sue Tom's insurance company. It would
Exactly.
not be a civil claim where you would be calling him. And even if,
unless Tom doesn't have insurance,
true,
in which case he would have his license revoked because you
Right.
can't drive without insurance.
And that's a
so
whole
I
other
highly
thing.
doubt that's the situation.
Mhm.
So, and even if you were going to sue them, your lawyer would tell you, do not call them. Are you insane?
Don't
Do
take
not-
them out to dinner.
Don't go have a date with wine.
When he orders for her too. So that tells me like, okay, they're both thinking this is a date, right?
It's very
'Cause
familiar. Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I
also,
will say,
don't order for me.
No. No. Even though
I
that
want to pick my own meal.
pasta with the whatever it had on it,
It looked
sounded really
delicious.
good. Yeah. Sounded delicious.
just say, hey, I've been here before. This is really good.
Make
If
a
you want to
suggestion.
try it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Because he doesn't know.
Maybe-
Maybe she's allergic to cheese.
Maybe.
You know? He has no
Maybe.
idea.
Maybe she wants a steak.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Absolutely. Luckily, she didn't. She wanted what he ordered. I have to tell you guys, I was looking up the other extra characters, the background performers, and I found a new website. It's not new, but new to us, called castingworkbook.com. And it has movies, hundreds and hundreds of movies, and the call sheets for casting, and all the characters and what age they're looking for, and a description of the character. And it was so interesting to go through and see, okay, they were looking for this age for this character, and this is, what they wanted them to look like. And then you can go in the movie, you can like spot, oh, there's, man in pumpkin sweater. That was like one of the characters.
That is so
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Say the
So,
name of the website again.
castingworkbook.com.
Casting workbook.
So then you can kind of play Where's Waldo for man in pumpkin sweater.
Yeah,
and all
that's fun.
That's very
Yeah.
cool.
You could make that a drinking game.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, I would love to do a Hallmark movie watching night with you girls and try their wine, the Hallmark wine. I have not tried it yet,
I
and I
have
would
tried
love to
it,
do that.
and
Have you,
it's
is it
delicious.
good?
Mhm.
It is.
And I believe there's 2 new kinds this year. So
Ooh.
we'll have to check into
We'll have to
that.
plan something.
I also want to get the Hallmark Monopoly that they have, the Christmas Monopoly that they have at Walmart right now.
Yes, that looks fun.
We should do
Mhm.
that. That would be
And I
really
don't even
fun.
like Monopoly, but that looks fun.
But Hallmark themed, it's good.
All right. So the next scene we see is Hey, Good Day in front of Pumpkin Everything, interviewing Amy about her new book. And Tom is seeing her true talent, and he seems to begin to recognize that he may have been wrong to doubt her career. You guys, I find this so interesting that this is the second time we've seen Tom noticing that Amy is good at something other than working at Pumpkin Everything. But he has yet to pick up her book and read it.
Mhm.
So if he's finding this much talent in her spoken words, I'm wondering, why is he not cracking that book open?
Well, and he always wanted her to go to business school, and he's realizing that she's made a business out of writing, and she's
Mhm.
self-promoting. She knows how to market herself. And so he's starting to realize that her dream is panning out, even though it was not what his dream was.
Yep.
Right. Well, and I think too, part of the reason why he didn't want her to become a writer is that he was worried that it wouldn't be successful.
That she'd fail.
And
Yeah.
right. And so now that he's seeing that she actually is very successful and doing a great job, he's realizing that he probably should have had a little bit more confidence
Mhm.
in her. So the next scene, Amy and Lillian are folding laundry. Her mom, Lillian, they're folding laundry at Lillian's house. They're discussing how a conversation with Kit has convinced Amy to stay a little longer. She's actually going to be there for the Scarecrow contest. Cut to the contest, and it's revealed that Amy is a 3-time Scarecrow champion.
Yes.
Amy playfully sabotages Kit. Neither of them win. The girl next to her ends up winning. But I thought this was a really cute scene, and I wasn't sure where they were going with the whole Scarecrow contest. Is this something
Mhm.
you work on at home and then bring and they judge for the best one? But they actually had to make a record number of scarecrows within a very, very short amount of time.
Yes.
And I thought it was really fun. I want to do it.
Yeah, it looked super fun.
So after the scarecrow contest, Amy, her mom, Tom, and Kit, they're all hanging out on the porch of, I couldn't tell if they're on the porch of the store or the porch of Tom's house. They both look the same.
Yeah.
So they're sitting on the porch, they're eating some pizza, and Lillian, the mother, who has been a workaholic up to this point, is notably finally figuring out work-life balance. And you guys, I loved this kind of mini story within the story of seeing her mom's transformation and the good that this man Luke brought out in her, and how she was finally able to put her phone down and focus on family. And I just thought that was really sweet. And I would love to see them do a movie just on them.
Yeah.
Really cute. Yeah.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was really great for her too, because Luke also owns a business. So he understands what it is to be responsible for a business and customers, but still being able to separate that from his personal life.
Exactly.
So then she was able to kind of start mirroring that same behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. They say, right, that your partner should bring out the best in you. So I just thought that was really sweet. I liked that. Tom's phone goes off and alerts them to a sales boost in online sales.
A boost?
Hooray. Yes, a sales boost.
So now they have more than 9.
They have a special alert on his phone for sales boosts.
He doesn't like apps. What do you mean?
I don't know. This is the first time we see that Tom even has a phone.
I would imagine he has a flip phone. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Or his phone would ring inside.
Yeah.
Landline.
Right.
So it's because of the promotion that Amy put out that the sales are booming. Tom is acknowledging her business savvy, and he suggests that they actually start selling Amy's books in his shop. Because why wouldn't you sell vampire books in a pumpkin everything store? Right?
This makes no sense to me. I get that she's his granddaughter, but I'm like, this is, to the average customer who walks in here, they're going to think, what is this? Why is this here?
This Halloween everything?
Well, that's kind of what I thought. You know, we have pumpkins, maybe we have Halloween decorations, but you never really saw any of that. But maybe he's going to set up a little section of local author.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm grasping here.
But this most special part about this scene is that Tom actually requests to read all of her books. Because he says he tests everything in the store. So I'm wondering how many proprietary blend candles he has in his house.
Probably a lot.
He had to test them.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amy's super excited. She hurries to her car to get a copy of one of the books for him to read. She's inscribing it with a sweet little message. She's heading back when Tom notices a light out on the porch that needs fixing.
Can I say something real quick about everybody else leaving the porch?
Yes.
They say that they're tired. They're going to turn in. It's still light out and it's fall. So what is it, like 5 o'clock? They're going
Right.
to bed.
And it's fall. So yeah. I mean, around here in the fall, it gets dark at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, this is Autumnboro, though.
They're very.
It's true. It's Autumnboro.
They have no daylight savings. The sun doesn't move.
Magical place.
Yes. I just thought that was funny.
That is funny. I didn't notice that. Tom has noticed this light out on his porch. And of course,
Daytime.
In the daytime. Yes.
Yes.
Why do they have the lights on? Another great point.
Because they're waiting for night. They're very excited to go to bed.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Well, the next day is the last day of Foliage Fest. So maybe they are excited.
They need to rest up.
Although when they left, I forgot to mention, Kit did leave a little bit abruptly, somewhat coldly, because he knew that Amy was leaving in the morning, and he just seemed a little bit, like he just wanted to go and not make a big deal of goodbyes.
Yep.
So this light is out on the porch.
We
In
know that's
true
going to end
Tom
badly.
fashion.
Yeah.
He needs to fix it immediately. And Amy gets back to the porch to find Grandpa has fallen off of the ladder while trying to fix the light, and he is unconscious. Did anybody else cry in this scene? Because I totally cried.
Made me really emotional. And I think that she did a great job of having an emotional reaction to that as well.
I agree with her acting, and the situation I liked for the story, but I did not buy that he could have gotten the ladder and a light bulb, set it up, climbed up there, and then fallen in that like 30 seconds that she ran to her car real quick. And then
Right. It's a very small town, so she couldn't have had to park very far away.
No.
Yeah.
But she did stop to inscribe the book before she came back.
That's true.
So that was a little bit of extra time.
But she probably would have heard him. He would have yelled, right? That when he fell, probably like,
I would think so.
Well, and doesn't
falling.
Kit live in the guest house, which is right next to the porch?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Wonder why he
I
didn't.
get why they did
A few
it. But
inconsistencies, but
yes.
Sure.
we're just going to roll with it.
Yeah. We'll go with it.
Yeah.
The next scene, Amy and Lillian are at the hospital. They're waiting for news on Tom. Kit is texting and calling and hoping to get updates, but Amy's ghosting him. She's not answering him. She's ignoring his calls. She's very upset and she's blaming herself for leaving him alone. This part I was a little bit confused about because she just ran to her car to get him a book.
Yeah.
It's not like she was supposed to be watching him and she left on a 3-day vacation. She literally just walked down the sidewalk and then came back. But she's very upset. And the doctor comes around the corner and lets them know Tom has regained consciousness. He has a few fractured ribs, but he is okay.
I'm wondering how he fell in order to get fractured ribs. You're on a ladder, you fall backwards. Was there a bench? Did he fall? I'm not sure how the ribs.
But when we find him, is he on his back or is he on his stomach? He's on his back, right?
Back.
I think he's on his back. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm not sure. And how do they know, like, he's regained consciousness? Have you run a bunch of tests? Like, I don't really know how long it's been because it seems like a very short period of time. But maybe they just didn't do a great job of like
showing how long they've been
that
there.
It was longer. Yeah. I don't know why Kit didn't just come to the hospital.
I also wonder that because, like we said, he lives in the guest house.
Yeah.
So he had to have heard something going on at some point. Why didn't they just all go together? And why is Amy ignoring him? It's kind of cold to not give him an update.
Yeah, let him know he's okay.
I mean, eventually she says, oh no, she didn't even. She just said no. When he asked her if there were any updates, she says nope. And that's it. That's all she says to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird because we hear cell phones go off a lot throughout the movie. And then all of a sudden in this scene, we see the text messages start to pop up on the screen. And I feel like that's a choice for a movie that you either do it throughout or you don't do it at all. It just, I feel like it's a stylistic choice that we should see them all the way through or not at all.
Yeah, I could see that. They finally get to go and see Tom. Amy immediately is insistent that Tom moves to Oakwood, the retirement village, which I felt like was really inappropriate for this scene because he's just fallen and hurt himself. And now is not the time to have this discussion. In fact, Tom and Lillian both say now is not the time when he's on concussion protocol. But she continues anyway. She insists that he sell Pumpkin everything, move to the retirement village. And she is mad that he is not on board. And she even says that everyone, including herself, would have been happier if she had just left after 2 days. And with that, she storms out.
I feel like she wants everything tied up before she leaves town. She wants to know that Grandpa's being taken care of. He's going to live here. He's going to have some supervision. And she won't have to worry about him as much while she's on her book tour.
But here's the thing. You move to a retirement village, which is active living. The exact same thing could happen. He could get out a stepladder and go to change a light bulb and fall. It's not like you have a nurse watching you all the time.
No,
like
it's not a nursing home.
It's an apartment. Yeah. So I don't know. I just felt like she was throwing a tantrum and I did not appreciate it.
Yeah.
She was a total drama llama. Yeah. She was rude. I mean, I know it seemed like it was her emotions coming out because she really loves her grandfather, but the way that she went about it, not ideal.
No, it was not okay.
So she runs out of the hospital right into the arms of Kit, who has finally shown up because he can't get a darn word out of Amy. She's upset that Tom won't flex on his decision. She pulls away from Kit, and Kit points out that she's running again, just like she did when she went to pursue her writing career and didn't say goodbye.
But what was she running from? His drinking problem? I don't know what she was running from. Pumpkin
She said
everything?
She said, you mean her senior year when she left? Or right after
Yeah.
senior year? Yeah, she said that she didn't know how to support Kit. She couldn't handle it. And she knew she had a dream of writing. So that's why she just left. She didn't know how to deal with him spiraling.
Okay.
She didn't, yeah, she didn't. She said something like it broke her heart to see him spiraling and know that there's nothing she could do to fix it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So she's trying to overcompensate now by fixing what's going
Everything.
on.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. So she does run. She goes, and the next scene, she's at Acres of Books, which is a bookstore that her grandfather and her used to go to. It's actually, she mentions it's the store that inspired her to write. And she's having a book signing there. And I tried to look up Acres of Books to see if this was actually a real place. And it's not a real store in Philadelphia. However, there was an Acres of Books that was opened in 1927 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was moved to Long Beach, California in 1934, where it remained open until 2008.
Wow.
Very long running bookstore. And I'm
That's
sad
so
it's closed.
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, 1927 until 2008. Pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
love a good bookstore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do
We
too.
have a really big bookstore in Portland, Powell's Books.
Mhm.
Oh,
They
I've
have a
never
couple.
been there.
They have a couple locations.
Yeah. There's the
Yeah.
really, really big one. You could just get lost in there all day long. It is so cool.
Mhm.
I love a bookstore. I love the way it smells,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
especially if it has a coffee shop inside.
Yep.
That's my jam.
Love it.
Mhm. Yes.
So after the book signing, Amy heads to a coffee shop where she gets a fall spice latte. The barista calls it a full-on autumn fantasy. And I'm wondering here, they call it a fall spice latte. Are they trying to point out that it's not as good as autumn burrow? Because this
it's
is not a
not
pumpkin
pumpkin.
spice
Oh,
latte.
it's not pumpkin. It's
No.
just fall.
It's a fall spice latte. You want a pumpkin spice latte, honey, you got to go home.
But in Autumnboro, it's a pumpkin latte, not a pumpkin spice latte.
Oh,
They
interesting.
just called it a pumpkin latte.
But I think that's because Starbucks probably has the trademark on the PSL.
Oh, could
You
be.
probably can't say.
Oh.
I would imagine.
Well, yeah, because you go to other coffee shops and it's pumpkin pie latte or just
Mhm.
pumpkin flavored latte.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
The
I
PSL.
never really thought about that.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So while she's waiting for her latte, she's flipping through her phone pictures. She's reminiscing about her trip to Autumnboro. And then she's at another book signing. The shop owner commends her for selling out all of the copies during the signing. She steps aside saying, "Oh, I have to decorate." And
That was
then
so weird.
Amy offers to help decorate the bookstore. She says, "Point me to your stapler."
When the store owner or manager says, "Oh, I have to decorate," I just felt like that was so forced and awkward.
Yes.
It was
Like-
very strange. Yeah. You would
It's
have already done that for one thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're not doing it in the middle of the day in a retail store.
During
You're
a
not-
very popular author's book signing.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, it was so weird. And also, maybe I'm a bit of a control freak, but if I were the owner of that store, I'd be like, "Oh, no, thank you. I want to do it my way."
Well, and then she says,
So
"Oh,
weird.
someone like you would help or would want to do this." And I'm
Yes.
just thinking,
How
wow.
condescending is that?
But that's when
Rude.
Amy has her aha moment.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I could do both. I can
Yes.
decorate and I can write.
Yes. This
Mhm.
is about as aha as Kit's marketing strategy.
Yeah. Just
Brilliant.
needed a little bit of fall foliage.
I mean, and whoever decorates with a
staple gun.
stapler? Are you stapling
When she
holes
was
in your
doing
wall
that,
to put up
I was
leaves?
thinking all around the
Yeah.
trim of the window.
When
Oh
you
my
take that
gosh.
down,
Staple.
nope. So
Where are
bad.
your command strips?
Right. Okay, so the next scene switches to Tom DJing at Oakwood. So suddenly something has changed back in
And boy,
Autumnboro.
does he have a voice for radio.
Oh, he sure does.
Mhm.
I mean, you can see that this is clearly the place for him.
It's his calling.
He's got tons of praise from Maggie, Jessica's favorite DJ. he's doing a great job.
Dude. She calls him dude.
Awesome dude. I like Maggie.
I do too.
No.
She is far out.
I like her clothes and her hair.
And this scene, I'm thinking, wow, Tom has really made changes and he's moved to Oakwood. But then Maggie mentions, there's a lot of red tape to go through for you to be able to DJ without being a resident here. And
Right.
so I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not living there yet. But then Tom says, hey, Maggie, would you show me around Oakwood again? So he's considering it.
Mm-hmm.
Amy's publisher calls her, cutting back to Philadelphia, and tells her the next stop on her book tour, surprise, surprise, is Autumnboro. And her car is ready to go now.
Yeah. Get outside. It's time to go.
But again, is she driving to the airport or is she hauling it 6, 7, 8 hours?
Yeah,
In
they
a
paid for a,
fancy car.
for a driver to take her
Right.
all the way to Autumnboro.
I'm right. I mean, it has to be though, because do they have fancy drivers like that in Autumnboro that would pick her up from the airport? I don't know.
Probably
Small
not.
town, probably not.
She's apparently hopping in the car heading to Autumnboro. Meanwhile, Tom is out on the porch with Kit and he gives him a check for all of the online sales for the month. And Kit is taken aback by receiving this check. It's for just under $10,000.
Yeah.
And Tom suggests that Kit should buy Pumpkin everything from him. And they both get teary-eyed. And I'm a little confused by this part because he's giving him the money from the online sales for this month and the last several months. Is that correct?
I think so.
And wants him to use that as a down payment for the store. So why is he giving Kit the money if he's just going to give it right back to him?
Well, for tax purposes, he would need to actually sell the business to him.
I suppose that's
Yes.
true.
But
Okay.
also, if he sells him the business and Tom sells the house so he can go live in Oakwood Village, where is Kit going to live? He's renting the guest house from Tom.
That's
He's
a
out
good
of
point.
home.
He
He's gonna
can't
have
buy the
to-
store and the house. And how much is he really making at Pumpkin Everything?
I
It's a
mean,
retail pumpkin store.
If he had a 10-year long spiral, I don't think he has very much savings. So I don't know.
well, and so Tom says he's going to give him this $10,000, and then he says he's going to give him something else too, right? More money.
the last few months, I think, of online
Okay.
sales as well.
So maybe he gets $25,000. That is not enough for a down payment on that building. There's no way.
No. And even if he's trying to give him a really good deal, he can't because he has to sell it at market value so he can afford Oakwood.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that house is probably $1 million house.
Oh, in this market?
Oh, at least.
At least.
Yeah, $25,000 is not going to do anything,
Right. But
unfortunately.
throw a business on top of that, you're talking a lot of money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amy arrives in a fancy car. She's got a glass of champagne. She's very dressed up. And I'm wondering, why is she so much more dressed up for this book signing when at the other book signings we just saw, she was wearing like a puffer vest and jeans?
We got to
That's
throw
true.
those puffer vests in there.
I feel like there's got to be at least one puffer vest in every Hallmark movie.
Probably.
At least the fall.
That's
and-
another drinking
and
game.
winter
Count
one.
the puffer vest.
So she seems a little confused why the driver has passed the bookstore. And he informs her that they are going to Pumpkin Everything, which she's shocked about. Now, I'm just thinking if I were her and I found out I was going to my hometown to do a book signing, my first thought would be to call my mom and say, hey, guess what? I'm coming to town for a book signing. But it doesn't seem like she's talked to anyone.
No.
Mm-mm.
She just headed
I mean,
to the
and
bookstore.
we've established she's had like a 7-hour car ride, so she's
Right.
had plenty of
But she
time.
looks fresh.
She's just playing Candy Crush on her phone.
Awkwardly
Maybe she's
talking
writing
to
the
the driver.
book. Yeah.
Yeah. So they arrive at Pumpkin Everything. Her grandpa greets her very warmly. and lets her know that the book signing is for the Foliage Fest Nightcap, which is being hosted outside of Pumpkin Everything. Grandpa Tom has read all of her books. He's complimenting her on her talent and her grace. He apologizes for getting in the way of her dreams, and they share a hug and start a new chapter, pun intended. And I just loved this. I thought it was just the sweetest thing. So I love that we pull out Lillian and Luke again at this part. Lillian comes over and greets her with Luke. And I just love that they just keep popping up in these little, these little
like, oh, hello again.
And they're so happy and joyful, and it's really sweet. So to start off the book signing, Tom gives a speech about Amy and how very proud he is. He describes the main character in Vampire Rising, and he sounds remarkably similar to Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a vampire? I did not.
Slight
I have questions.
I know. Because they're like, we want to know what happens to Dimitri. Oh, he's a family man. That's what happens to him.
Right. Does he have little baby vampire children? How do they breastfeed? That sounds really painful. I don't know.
But I will say, when Grandpa Tom introduces her at the book signing, and he actually tears up, it was so sweet.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really liked that part.
And we finally get to see some mutual understanding between the two of them and just kindness. And I really like that. You get to start to see those walls come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So after the signing, Tom reveals to Amy that he has sold Pumpkin Everything to Kit. This sale happened remarkably fast.
Yes.
Very fast.
Kit and Amy then step aside and share their feelings for one another. And finally, they kiss.
Okay, but when Grandpa Tom tells Amy that he sold the shop to Kit, Kit is just like creepily standing in the background staring
He
at them.
always is. He's always just like off to the side, and then he's like, grimacing when he's mentioned. Like, here I am.
Did somebody say Kit?
I just live over here in the guest house.
And if Kit has taken over the store, why is Grandpa Tom running the show here? I don't know.
Right. Why isn't he introducing him as the new owner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would
Also
have been a
great
good
question.
idea.
That would have
would've
been.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could have made a big announcement. Kit could have come up and introduced himself, and then he could have introduced Amy.
Yes, and proclaimed his undying love for her.
Oh boy. Well, he does in a moment. They are sharing their hearts with each other. And he says, we'll always be where we need to be for ourselves, for each other. I really wanted to love this moment, but I couldn't help but laugh. It felt so, what does that mean? We'll always be where we need to be for ourselves, for each other.
We can do our own thing and also be together, I guess, is kind of the gist of it.
Maybe.
How about just I love you? I mean,
Yeah, I
call
love
me
you.
old fashioned, but
And your vampire career is fine with me.
you can write your vampire stories in my pumpkin store.
You sell pumpkins. I'll write books. It'll be magical.
Match made in heaven.
God.
So that's the end of the movie. We end with a kiss scene between Kit and Amy, and everybody is watching and smiling at them.
But we don't ever find out if Luke actually sued Tom.
No.
I'm
But
guessing
maybe
that-
if they make a movie about Lillian and Luke, then we'll find out.
Oh, I want them to.
And I'm wondering if Tom and Maggie got together.
I hope so.
Because
Oh,
it
you know
seemed
what?
like there was a
Oh.
little something going on with them.
Yeah, and that was another thing I wondered is where is Grandma?
Yes.
Where's Grandma?
They
Where's
never
Dad?
mentioned it.
Yeah.
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 What happened to Amy's dad? What happened to Grandma?
They never talk about it at all.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
There's no
I kept
story
looking
about her.
I kept looking for pictures. Like
Mhm.
whenever he'd pick up a picture frame, I thought, oh, maybe his wife is there. No.
Right.
was always-
Maybe we're
it was
going to
al-
hear that after he lost her, like he became more grumpy and set in his ways or something, but we never heard anything about her.
I thought they were going to go there because there was one point where Tom said, I don't like change, you know. I don't
Mhm.
like change. And she said, and Amy said, I know you don't. And I thought they were going to go into how he lost his wife or something, but they
Mhm.
never really did.
Yeah, I'm curious about
Maybe
that.
that answer is in the book.
Maybe I would really
Oh,
love
that's
to
right.
read the book.
I would
Yeah.
too. So it's a series. Which one is the first in the series?
Pumpkin Everything.
Pumpkin
There's
Everything
only
is-
2 books in the series. This
Okay.
author has a couple of different series that just have 2 books.
Okay.
And I noticed too, the sequel or the second book in the Autumnboro series, it's not the same characters. This
Oh,
one is about Josie, who works at Pumpkin Everything.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
So they reference the store.
Right.
But
It's
with
the
the
same
characters.
town, same kind of idea.
Same
but-
universe.
yeah, same universe, but they don't. And I wonder too, reading the book, if Tom might make an appearance or something, or Kit, if she's working at.
Yeah,
Pumpkin
that's
Everything.
true.
Okay, so that's the story. I thought we could play a little this or that again because that
Oh,
was
yeah.
so fun last time.
Sure.
That was fun.
And Kit and Amy played this game in their, not really Kit and Amy, Taylor and Corey played this game in their Hallmark interview. So I thought we'd
Oh,
give it another whirl.
perfect.
So first one, pumpkin spice latte or apple cider?
PSL.
Ooh. PSL.
For sure. For
Mhm.
sure. I will pick coffee over anything. Maple glazed or apple cider donut?
Apple cider.
Maple glazed.
Maple glazed, for sure.
I'm not a
Especially if
fan
it's-
of the maple frosting.
Oh no. Have you ever
Right.
had Chuck's Donuts?
No.
They are famous for their maple bars because the maple glaze, it's not really a glaze, it's like a whipped frosting,
Ooh.
and it is so good.
I made French
Um,
toast the other day with the maple oat milk I bought. It was very good.
Ooh,
Ooh,
yummy.
that sounds good.
Caramel apples or apple pie?
Apple pie.
Pie.
For sure. I don't actually like caramel apples.
I don't either.
I
They're
find
so
them
hard
really
to eat.
difficult to eat. Yes. Yes.
I'd rather
The
make
thought of
apple
them-
nachos.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the thought
Absolutely.
of them is great. They're cute. They're festive. I don't want to eat them. It's a big old mess.
No.
No.
Vampires or werewolves?
Vampire.
I'm gonna go with vampire.
I would say
I
werewolf.
don't know. I
I
don't
would say
know
werewolf.
because Teen Wolf movie's coming out and that looks
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good.
That's
Oh,
true.
does it? I didn't know there was another Teen Wolf movie coming.
It's based on the series.
Oh. What
Oh.
was the original Teen Wolf movie? We used to watch that at Nana's when we were kids.
Michael J. Fox.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah.
that's the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. I just feel like werewolves are normal for most of the time. It's one night a year that they get a little crazy, right? Or not a
Good
year,
point.
one night in every moon cycle, or
Yeah.
Full
it's just
moon.
on the full moon.
Mhm.
So the rest
Yeah.
of the time they're normal. Vampires always suck people's blood. And
That's
freaks
true.
me out.
Yeah. It's a way of life for them.
Yeah. Vinyl records or radio?
Vinyl records.
Radio.
Radio.
Just because I don't use
Oh.
vinyl. I don't own vinyl. I don't
Yeah.
use it.
I don't either. I
I'm
feel
showing
like
my age.
everybody I know that has a record player, their record player is always broken.
Yeah. If you ask me CDs or radio, I'd probably pick CDs.
Oh,
But-
interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
Hold on a
I would always like prefer Spotify, Apple Music.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sirius XM I like too. That's
just
pretty
for
good.
the ease, but there's something nostalgic about the scritchy scratch of
Yeah.
a record.
Yeah, I do enjoy
Well, yeah. I mean, Maggie talked about that, right? The
She
crackle, the warm crackle.
that. The
warm
warm
crackle.
crackle. It's like a fire. Okay, pumpkin candle or pumpkin garland?
Candle.
Yeah, pumpkin candle, leaf garland.
See, I thought this one was kind of funny because I thought I've never heard of pumpkin garland.
Mm-mm.
Pumpkins are a little heavy.
It's very
make
heavy.
garland.
I guess if it's like little plastic fake pumpkins,
Yeah,
I
like
had
we
some pumpkin
had those
lights.
Yeah, those lights.
Mhm.
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely pumpkin candle. Okay, last one. Carve a pumpkin or stuff a scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Stuff a scarecrow.
100%. I hate
I don't
Carving
like carving pumpkins. We bought them last year and didn't even carve them.
I
Us too.
hate it. It's a
Oh,
mess. It's
My
hard.
arms get all itchy when I get that stuff on me.
Yes.
Ugh.
And the kids give up after 5 minutes.
And then I have
it's
to
always
finish
up
their
to the
darn
moms.
pumpkins.
Mhm.
Well, it's like, here, 3-year-old, have a knife. Like,
Who thought of this?
Uh-huh.
I
love
would
the
much rather
stickers.
paint them.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Paint
the
or the
stickers are
sticker
good.
sets. And those are
Yeah.
becoming more and more popular now.
Mhm. But
So,
they don't light up when you do that.
no, that's true.
I like carved pumpkins.
Mhm.
I do too. And like the
I just don't like
viral
the
photos
process.
now that with people with the pumpkins on their heads,
Yeah.
dancing around the woods. I love that. I would
It's
do that in a
hilarious.
second. But I would
Yes.
get the styrofoam ones.
Yeah.
And not have to
Mhm.
deal with the gunk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so time to rate the movie. On a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being fantastic, perfect, wonderful, 1 being I hated it, didn't like it at all. How many pumpkin lattes would you give Pumpkin Everything?
I'm going to go 3 on this one.
Oh,
I enjoyed the story. I did not buy the chemistry between Kit and Amy as much as I do in other movies. I like them separately as actor and actress, but I just didn't feel like the vibe between them. And then I felt like there was just more forced pieces of the story happening.
Mhm.
So, and it could be because it's based on a book, they had to cut out a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so that could be part of it. So I'm going to go solid 3. I would watch it again though.
I am going to go much higher only because the parallels between Grandpa and my own dad are so similar. I'm going to go a solid 4.5.
Oh,
And I actually liked the chemistry between Kit and Amy. I feel like in the long term, though, there could be some issues. He's running the store. She becomes very successful. It could cause some drama. But right now, where it stands, I like them together. And 4.5 pumpkin spice lattes.
cool.
I'm
Cool,
kind of
dude.
in
Far out.
Groovy.
Rock on.
I'm
Rock
kind of in
on.
between the two of you. I would give it a solid 4. I will agree with you, Jessica, that I didn't really buy the chemistry between Kit and Amy, but I was okay with that because I didn't feel like that was the focus of the movie. I felt like
Yeah.
the focus was more on Amy's relationship with her grandfather,
Mhm.
and that relationship was very believable. And they really did have really great on-screen chemistry. I believed that he was her grandfather. I believed the tension. I believed in their reconciliation. So I really liked that. I loved Maggie.
I did too.
But I just,
Maggie was fun.
I loved it. I thought it was really sweet, and I would definitely watch it again. So yeah, 4 pumpkin
too.
lattes from me. That is Pumpkin Everything. Our next movie is Girlfriendship, starring the fabulous Tamara Mowry Housley. I love her. I'm
do
so
too.
excited to watch this movie. You can follow us on Instagram at Love on the Pod. Make sure that you watch Girlfriendship before our next episode releases, and email us any questions, movie suggestions to loveonthepod@gmail.com.
So whether you're crashing your truck into the local coffee shop
Or sniffing proprietary pumpkin candles.
We hope your week is full of pumpkin spice.
See you next time.
bye-bye.
Bye.